Ken.
Let's do it like so.
I'm excited. So I am unfamiliar with their keyboard line. So what do you got?
So this is the Hydrasynth Deluxe, okay? This is our flagship model, and this is essentially 2 of our other Hydrasynths inside of 1, all right? So this can be 16 voices, or it can be 2 layers of 8 voices, and you can set that up in different splits, and you can really arrange it how you like. Now, what's unique about these is that all of our products are polyphonic aftertouch with our own polyphonic Polytouch Keybed. Now, this Keybed is manufactured in-house by us. Very strict quality controls. We calibrate every key individually. So this is gonna give you a playability that you're not gonna get out of other MIDI keyboards. When you play these, you have a nice firm stop, and then you can dig into the keys individually to get individual modulations per note. All right?
That's nice.
Another great feature about the Hydrasynth is that though it's an extremely complex synthesizer engine inside of here, we make it extremely easy to navigate through it and to set up modulations. If you like to set up your own patches, you can build a patch on it in no time at all. If you like to use patch libraries, you can load them in. We have this nice ribbon controller here, and above it, you'll see we have these screens. These screens can be macro screens, and basically you can set them up to be any parameters that you want with 8 controls under each one. And they can be modulated from each other or anywhere else in the synthesizer. So if we were to take an initialized patch, I'll show you how quick and easy this is. I just double tap init. We have a blank slate here. This is the whole signal flow of the synthesizer. So you can easily see where you are on the patch. I can touch oscillator, and now I see my oscillator parameters.
Okay.
A nice thing about here is you can turn from a single cycle waveform where you can just scroll through and see different waves, or you can build your own wavetable from scratch. And what's unique about this is that not only can you pick your individual waves here and create a wavetable, but you can also use our randomize functions to select different waveforms this way. Or if you are outside of there, I can hold random and then touch the wave list, and it will create a unique wavetable. And you can create literally over billions of different wavetables using these combinations.
That nobody else is using.
Exactly.
On their tracks.
So now we have this nice smooth wavetable, but let's say you want to make it a little bit more crunchy, or you want to get it a little bit more digital or grimy sounding. You can bit reduce at the oscillator level, and when you drop the bit rate down, you'll actually see the waveform start to become more and more blocky.
Right.
Now, normally, if you see something like bit reduction or sample rate reduction, these kinds of things, they're not always at the oscillator level, but where they're definitely not is where we're going next. If you go into your envelopes, we can actually do envelopes by BPM, and what that means is I can have a rhythmic patch that's synced to MIDI clock, and I can turn BPM sync on, and each stage will be by a division.
That's cool.
And you can create looping envelopes that are all going to be in time.
Because you want those pulses to be on the beat. That's awesome.
And now I can go into quantize, and I can actually bit crush my envelopes. So if I want to have like a kind of rhythmic steppy envelope, I can go ahead and bit crush my envelope this way. Or if I want to recreate something like an old wavetable synth, or really even a lot of the old poly synths had very slow digital envelopes in them, you can recreate that sound here by using these quantized numbers here.
Wow.
You can also do that in our LFO section. So our LFOs, you have a quantize here, and you can drop your bit rate on them as well. These are all very unique features that are going to give you
but they're awesome.
Rhythmic possibilities. When you chain that to your wave scan, you get these chunky movements as opposed to like such a smooth movement. Gives you a lot of different character. And dealing with character, we have these filters over here. Now this is 100% digital synth, and our filters were created using an AI model that we created and machine learning. So we were able to take multiple different filters and model them inside of here, and then once we got them inside the synthesizer, we were to use our ears and tune exactly the response that we wanted. The filters, we've got self-oscillating filters, we've got filters that replicate ladder filters with Q compensation or without. We've got Euro rack filters in here. We've got vocal filters. So you have a wide range of different filtering, and it's not just a slope difference where if you're, you know, on a lot of synthesizers, you might have different filter models, but really they're just a different slope. And when you turn the resonance up, it all kind of sounds the same, just it's a matter of how much power they have. Here, when you turn your resonance up and listen to the self-oscillation on a filter and you switch between models, you'll hear a drastic difference between them. So it's a very unique possibility there. You can also adjust the drive pre and post filter. So you can have a more rounded off sound, a really fat, robust sound, or you can have it a little bit more distorted and clipped. We've also got our effects section on here, so you have pre-effects, delay, reverb, and post-effects, and those are on separate DSP chips. So you can get quite a lot of different effects in here, such as lo-fi if you want to change your sample rate. We've also got tremolo, EQ, phasing, chorus, you know, all your typical effects here. The delay is really nice in that you can modulate in very, very small increments. So if you want to get just a very slight warble or something out of a delay, you can do that on here, whereas a lot of the times synthesizers will do that and it's kind of ham-fisted and you're getting these big modulations when you really just want something subtle. So the synthesizer is really about playability.
And then I can save that all so I didn't lose it.
Exactly. You could save everything in there, and then you could go to your multi-mode. When you're in the multi-mode, it's two of the synthesizers stacked on top of each other, and you use the lower or the upper, and you'll notice the whole panel changes color to show you what you're editing.
Where you're at, okay.
Right?
Yep.
So you're editing two different synthesizers at once here, and if I hit multi and it turns orange, I'm editing the parameters of the upper and lower. And those macros, you'll see these arrows, those are indicating what level do they go to. Do they go to the upper, do they go to the lower, or do they go to both? So you could set all that up on there. This also
so basically, you could have, instead of having a MIDI setup, you have your two keyboards up and you'll have to play with one hand.
Exactly. You could have a bass and a lead, or you can have a string pad and a lead, whatever you want to do.
That's awesome.
Everything is built out of solid metal on these. These are steel. This is our laptop stand that comes with it, right? So you just pop that on there. You could have a mixer up here. You could put guitar pedals up here, whatever you want to put up there, and you're good to go. And everything is built really, really solid metal. These shafts bolted to the panel and metal. Everything is top grade in here. Everything that we put into these synthesizers is meant to be gigged with so that you can go out and you can feel confident that this thing isn't going to break on you.
Right.
We've got extremely deep arpeggiator. You know, everything in here is designed for a player. Chord button, you can just hold it and press your chord, let go, and now that chord is on each key. So again, we'll move down here.
All right.
And you see on the 49 key, this is the exact same as our deluxe model. Now, all the single patches that you can load in the deluxe will load in this as the exact same. So, excuse me, Eric.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let me slide down here. So, you have the same ribbon controller, same polyphonic aftertouch keybed, same controls. Everything is here. It's just one layer, right? And when we move down here to this one, this is the exact same engine as this one, right? But it'll run for 5.5 hours on AA batteries. And polyphonic aftertouch on this keybed as well, semi-weighted. This is the only semi-weighted mid-size key polyphonic aftertouch keybed on the market. You still have all of the same controls as you do on the larger model. The larger model has 8 knobs here with 8 screens. We've broken those up so that you have the same information here. You just page between them, right?
Yep.
And what's really great about this is on the larger models you have those macro buttons that will light up, and these will light up, but you also see a little indicator here that shows you that it's lit. And this is your ring, the ring LED that goes around it. You can see that there. So you're really not losing, you know, a lot of functionality by moving to a smaller model. You're just getting more portability.
Right.
It's not about stripping away features for people. It's about keeping as much as you can possibly have in here and making it portable and more affordable. So this is only $599.
So
right?
you can be a street performer and sound like
absolutely
you know what you're doing.
Absolutely, and this is only $5.99, and you know it's really light and portable. The bottom of it is all steel because we have that polyphonic aftertouch keybed. You need a really firm body so that when you press into it, you're not going to have something flimsy and you know breaking apart on you.
Makes a lot of sense.
Excuse me for just a second. So this one here. The only things that you're really having difference here is that you have the ribbon, you don't have the ribbon here, and up top we have our CV gate. You have CV gate on the back here. On the larger models, you do have inputs for your CV gate, which you can also run in audio inputs into the ring modulator, whereas this one does not have CV in, it just has CV out. And it'll do a host of different standards, everything from volt per octave, hertz per volt, 1.2 volts if you have like old Moog modular or something that you want to control. This will control everything. So these can be the center of your studio. If you use it as a VST controller, you could set your macros up to be whatever CCs you want. Let's say, for instance, you want to set up a plugin and you want to control the cutoff in a plugin. You don't need to set up a macro for that. You would literally just touch filter and then adjust the cutoff here, hit MIDI learn, and this is going to be sending MIDI CC74, which is your cutoff on a VST. If I go to the oscillator and I change to the pitch, it's going to be a different CC there. If I go to the envelope, it's a different CC here. So you can map your plugins to how this works. All these will send out individual CCs for that. And then if you have a few parameters that are not on the synthesizer that you need, then you set up a macro for that. And all the MIDI that goes into and out of this synthesizer is freely accessible in your mod matrix. So you can use the LFOs from here to control your VSTs or control your other hardware. And if you have other hardware that has extra cool modulation that you want, you can send that into the mod matrix here and it will control any parameter that your modulation matrix will. So very deep.
You put a lot into it.
Absolutely. This is a long time project that is, you know, from dedicated years of synthesizer experience. Our whole team are synthesizer enthusiasts, and we love this stuff, eat, sleep, and breathe it. So if it's not there, chances are it's not there for a reason, not because we didn't think of it. We are all over this stuff and love it.
I mean, it even looks like it's made to stand up.
Well, I can tell you,
I have an ESQ1, and they have a plastic on that.
Well, I have an SQ80 that's a metal body, and I can tell you that this is thicker. Like, so when we're building these, obviously we make prototypes and we make, you know, units that we have to test with, and when we're done, we have to destroy them. I can tell you, I weigh 180 pounds now, and I had to set one of these on my steps and jump on it to try to break it, right? I couldn't bend it. That's how sturdy the frame was. I literally had to take a sledgehammer to it because it's such a thick body. It's designed to not be so heavy that you can't carry it, but it is designed to be so firm that if you take it on tour, you can actually feel confident that it's going to stand up. Yeah, you could stand up to the rigors of the tour. I think for this one here, like we're maybe under 40 pounds, you know, and that's a big synthesizer. That's 73 keys, you know. So yeah, they're absolutely fantastic for touring. Right now we have M83 just did their entire tour with nothing but Hydrasynths. Their album was done with all classic synthesizers, and Hydrasynth replaced all of them.
Now, if I put it in a travel case, I can pretty much get it's pretty standard as far as the dimensions go.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And this is, you know, this 49 key, you know, will fit in quite a few different cases. You just want to make sure that it's deep to account for, you know, your playability area here.
All right.
You know, some of the cases will be shallow. So yeah, again, this is $5.99, $12.99. $17.99 for the deluxe, and we also have a rack mount unit down here.
Oh, really?
And this is a desktop and rack mounted unit. This one goes for $7.99. What's cool about this is all recessed in here. So if you rack mount it, this will sit flush and your cables won't be blocking, you know, your rack.
I know what that's like.
These pads here can be set up into different pad modes. When you hit shift, and you go into pad mode, you can set them up however you want, like a fretboard, or you can set them up into octave row. This is my personal favorite. So now I can select any scale that I want, and it's going to have just the keys in scale here, and I can play it out. And these are all pressure sensitive polyphonic aftertouch as well. You still have all that same functionality right up front here, and you can still do all the same mapping, load the same patches. Everything is cross compatible across the line.
That's awesome.
And these are all metal
too. Put a lot of thinking into that.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of thought. But I think this is where someone is really thinking. I mean, it's awesome that you did all this, but at the end of the line, when you put it in a rack,
yep,
I am sick of cords and things you can't plug in because they didn't design it to be mounted.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, they put a rack mount on the sides, and that's all you can do with it.
Yeah, so when you put this in your rack,
box.
it's going to fit nice and flush, and you're not going to have anything hanging out. You're not going to have to waste an extra space.
Right. Yep. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Any other questions?
No, that's the stuff.
All right, well, I'm Ken.
If you want to buy it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.